Hello, everyone. Welcome to the virtual training day for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Fundamentals. My name's Chelsea Lee, and I'll be your Microsoft Technical Trainer over the next 2 sessions as we're exploring the customer engagement apps inside of Dynamics. You also might have heard this described as the CRM apps as well. But here's the cool thing. If you're looking for a new badge to add to your collection, these 2 sessions tie directly to the MB 910 exam. In fact, by attending this session and leveraging the learning path at aka.ms/MB910, you're going to have everything you need to sit for the MB910 exam. Now, for this virtual training day, we're going to be breaking up the CRM apps into 2 different sessions. Today, in part 1, we're going to introduce the Dataverse, and this is the foundation for Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. We're also going to explore the marketing and sales apps inside of Dynamics. And then in part 2, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the customer service, field service, and project operations side of Dynamics. And we have a full agenda ahead of us. So why don't we go ahead and get started with our first module? And again, just so you know, all of the material that I'm going to be covering can be found at aka.ms/MB910. Now, Dynamics 365's customer engagement applications are customer-focused business applications that are built on the Microsoft Power Platform. They're designed to help organizations more effectively engage their customers. And what's cool about the Microsoft Power Platform, it's a low-code application development platform that not only supports Dynamics 365, but also Office 365, Azure, and a lot of other standalone applications. Because it's combining the power of literally Power Apps, Power BI, and Power Automate into one platform that provides a quick and easy app building and other data insights. So one of the key elements to building applications on this platform is going to be the Microsoft Dataverse. And the Dataverse lets you securely store and manage data used by all of your different business applications. So let's say, for example, if you are storing all of your customer data in tables inside of the Dataverse, each of these tables are going to be made up of rows and columns for specific information like the name, the address, different shopping preferences, and really any other information that you might want to collect. Well, the Dataverse includes a set of standard tables that covers most of these typical business scenarios like accounts and contacts and activities. And the advantage to the Dataverse is that organizations can also create custom tables specific to their needs and then populate them with their data. And all of the different applications that we're going to be looking at inside of Dynamics 365 are storing their data inside of the Dataverse. And the real benefit to you and to your organization is that you can build apps by using Power Apps and the Dataverse directly against your core business data, which this is already used inside of Dynamics 365, so you're not having to take any extra steps to integrate the 2. And since we know where the data is being stored, why don't we go ahead and look at the 5 core Dynamics 365 customer engagement apps. We have sales, customer service, field service, project operations, and marketing. And these applications can help change the way that your organization engages and interacts with your customers. And by using these tools, your organization can create really personalized marketing and sales and service experiences using that data and that intelligence to improve and customize every interaction. So one of the easiest ways to access all of your different applications is by going to office.com/apps. Now you can see here, I'm actually logged in as a system admin, and so I have all of the apps that are available inside of my organization, but it may vary slightly based off of your own permissions. But I want to look very specifically at our business apps. So when I select on business apps here, there are a number of different ones. Like I have field service, marketing, sales, customer service. And even if I couldn't find one because, they kind of have similar icons, what I can do is I can actually select search. And let's say I was looking for Sales Hub. Well, if I select Sales Hub, it's going to take me into the Sales Hub application. And we'll explore this a little bit later on today. But this is just sales. What happens if I wanted to switch between, marketing? Well, this is my app settings for sales specifically. However, it's real easy if I wanted to change it. All I have to do is click on this grid right here. And if I wanted to switch to marketing, all I have to do is select marketing, and now I'm there. Now, over here at the bottom, I kind of showed you that application setting. I can change the area from marketing to events, which go hand in hand with one another, and we'll look at that more in Module 2. But let's take a look here at settings. So as assistant admin, I have a lot more access than maybe someone on our marketing team or our sales team would have access inside of these applications. But this is where if I wanted to do any type of configuration around my forms or the way that my leads are set up, this allows me to have total control over that. But really, kind of what I want to show you is as you go through all of these different applications or these different views, you'll notice, we're going to be exploring sales and marketing today, it looks similar. And that's what I really like about Dynamics is that it's easy, one, to move back and forth between areas that you're using frequently, but it also has a very similar feel to it. So your search is always going to be at the top, your filtering, and I'll show you as we go through today and we look at our sales process and our marketing lifecycle, how easy it is to switch back and forth. As you can see, it's very easy to access the different Dynamics 365 applications that are available directly from the home screen. And you saw once you open an app, it's simple to switch between each one as you need it. And since we understand how you access and navigate the different apps, why don't we go ahead and take a closer look at probably one of the most used record types, and it's something that's used across all the different customer engagement applications. So inside of Dynamics 365, you're going to be working with customers. And when it comes to customer types, you have business to business or B2B, which is a customer who is a business purchasing your products or services, a business to consumer, B2C, where an individual is buying the product or service, and then you have what's called a hybrid customer. And this can either be a business or an individual. And no matter what type of customer you are working with in Dynamics 365, it can support you. And the way you set up all your different customer profiles is through accounts and contacts. Now, an account represents a company or an organization that you do business with. So think of this like a customer, a vendor, a partner, it could be a reseller. But within an account, you are going to have a contact, and that contact represents a person. Now, this contact can be a standalone person, it's an individual as an organization. It's up to you how you want to organize it. But these accounts and contacts can be tied to one another in a few different ways. You can have what we call parent accounts that have a number of different accounts underneath it. And then accounts and parent accounts can both have contacts associated with them. Now, while an account might have multiple contacts, it's likely that you're going to have one primary contact. And that primary contact is that person at the organization that you're usually working with. And part of the reason that you collect information on accounts and contacts is to know who you're working with. But you also want to keep track of the communication that you and your team have with your customers. And that's what we call an activity. And activities inside of Dynamics 365, it allows you to track meetings, emails, phone calls, or even notes from meetings. And as your organization's relationships with a customer builds over time, you and other people on your team can look through of a record and basically create a timeline to see a history of all your different interactions. And when it comes to tracking all these different activities, you're going to be most likely tracking communication with either an account or a customer. But there's a few different ways that you can leverage activities. Later on, when we look at the sales lifecycle, you might want to take note on a call regarding a lead or a quote. Or, let's say, for example, when you're working with service work orders, it might be helpful to note any calls about the issue so everyone who's involved will be on the same page in case the customer reaches out. Now, what I do want to show you is how easy it is to create a customer and add these activities. So let's go ahead and log into our Dynamics account. Now, I have the Sales Hub pulled up from earlier, but what we have over here on the left-hand side, this is our navigation bar. Now, I'm going to come over here underneath Customers, and I'm going to select an account. And to create one, you can see here's all my existing accounts, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new account. And as you see, we have some account information. Now, anything with that red asterisk is required. So for the account name, I'm going to do Contoso Corporate. And for the phone number, let's just plug in a phone number here. Now, we don't have a fax. The website, again, all of this, you can see it's not necessarily required because it does not have that red asterisk. But what I can do is I can add in a service address, and this might be helpful when I am working with any type of tickets later on. So in this case, let's do 191, 181, Avenue N, and we are in Seattle. So we have the state Washington. Let's go ahead and enter in the zip code 98101 and country USA. All right, so we can go ahead and click done for that. And again, this is where I can enter in any other information that might be pertinent to the account. But for now, let's just go ahead and save and close. And now that that account has been created, now, if I wanted to, I could actually create another account very simply. So we'll go ahead and create a new one. And we're going to create Contoso North America. So it's a different account, but you kind of see where I'm going here with this one. So phone number 888-555-4321. And in this case, I'm going to just notate that this company is in Chicago. And again, I can go back and fill in any of that information down the road if I want. But what I can do is I can actually set the parent account. So the parent account is going to be right here. And if I click on that search bar, you can see the recent accounts. I can set it for Contoso Corporate. So now I've created a parent account with a child account underneath it, showing that they are together. I'm going to go ahead and select Save. And now what I can do is I can actually add contacts to that. So I can create a contact directly from here if I'd like. So from the related fields, we can select contacts. And I can create a new contact, or if I had existing contacts in the system, I absolutely could. But I'm going to just go ahead and select a new contact. And then this is where I can either scan a business card or I can enter it in myself. So I'm going to enter in Jackson Anderson. He is the CEO, and you can see I have him tied to the account for the North America. And then his email is jackson@contoso.com, and I have his business phone number, and that's where, you see it's pulling in the information that I had previously entered. Now, if I wanted to, I could make adjustments. But if I want to, I'll select Save and Close. Now, what I can do is I can actually select him, and if I wanted to, I can now make him the primary contact for this account. And so that way, anytime someone comes into Contoso North America, they're now coming in and they see that this individual is now the primary contact. That way, if we meet other people, like say from the accounting department or the marketing department, we know who the main contact is and who we should be reaching out to. So if I actually come over here and select Jackson, I now have a timeline of every type of communication that's ever been had or anything that's been entered by my sales team, my marketing team, anyone who's interacted with Contoso or Jackson. And so let's say, for example, if I wanted to schedule an appointment with him, what I can do is I can come up here and I can select new, and you can see there's all sorts of type of record events. So I can select appointment. All right, so when I create an appointment, because I was on Jackson's contact record, it's automatically going to pull in his name, and it's also going to pull in the account I'm logged in as. I'm logged in as a system administrator, but I can also change the owner, I can change the attendee, and I can also include any optional attendees. So in this case, I'm going to just say meeting with Jackson, and we can say diner 1 when we're having a lunch meeting. Now, in this case, Jackson's calendar is really busy, and I'm not going to be able to talk to him until June 1st of 2025. But the good news is we have record that there is a meeting on calendar. So since we know he's busy, we're not necessarily following up with him all the time saying, hey, can we get on your calendar? We can see it's already there. So I'll go ahead and select Save and Close. And now the timeline has been updated to show that that meeting has been scheduled with Jackson. And this is actually part of the assistant, which we'll look at in a little bit later on today, is you can see information about the appointment itself. So if I actually select this down arrow, if there is any other information about where it's located or any optional attendees, I could then see that details here. Now, if I wanted to actually select the appointment, I can then add any details about the appointment myself. So let's say we are in the future, it's June 2025. We had lunch with Jackson, the meeting went great. If I wanted to, I could enter a note saying lunch meeting. Jackson is interested in buying our product. I can add that note, and then I can mark this appointment as complete. Then that note has that appointment's been completed. You can see it's closed on the timeline. And then if I wanted to, I can save and close Jackson's contact record, and everything's been updated. And as you can see, it's extremely easy to add and track customer engagements, appointments, basically any interaction. And part of the reason we do this is to build a profile on our customers. And as your organization grows, it's important that you can easily find this information when you need it. And there are so many different ways that you can go about finding data. So let's say, for example, if I'm looking for all my customers who are located in Redmond, Washington, you can see here on the screen, I can simply add a filter to the city column. And really, you can add as many filters as you need to create the view that fits your need. But if needed, you can actually search for a specific word or a specific phrase inside of Dynamics as well. So if I wanted to find all my accounts with the word adventure in it, all I would have to do is type that into the search field, and it would pull up anything that meets my criteria. And this is where I'm searching one view. And in this case, if you look here on the screen, I'm only searching my active accounts. But if I wanted to pull not only my accounts, but all of the contacts who are associated with a company that has the word adventure in it, I'm going to want to use a categorized search. So what this does, it allows me to add an additional filter through what we call advanced search, which adds like different conditions, think of an accounts with open orders or active leads, different filters like that. And while it may sound complicated, it's fairly easy to use. So let's go ahead and look at the different searching and filtering options available inside of Dynamics 365 to help locate those different account records. Now I'm just coming back to the same Sales Hub app that we've been using so far. And on this left-hand side panel, I'm going to come back down to accounts, and we've already taken a look at that. But what I want to do is I want to search for a specific city. And you can see the view I'm currently in is my active accounts. And so if I wanted to, I could actually filter by city or location. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this little filter button. And I am going to change it to, I'm looking for accounts. So I'm going to add a new row, and I'm going to change it to where the city, we can see I have my different operators here, and I'm going to say it equals Redmond. And when it comes to filtering, I could have equals, does not equal, contains, begins with, so you can see that there's a number of different options when it comes to that. Now, when I apply that, you can see here, it has now pulled up all of my accounts, my active accounts that are located in Redmond. And if I wanted to clear this filter and go back to my all my active accounts, I can do that here. Now, if I wanted to search for like a particular phrase, for example, I'm going to just type in fourth here. You can see that this is pulling up my account Fourth Coffee. So if I select Fourth Coffee, we can see that record timeline right here. And, from the Fourth Coffee account, I can add an activity. So I'm going to select create a new timeline record, and instead of an appointment, let's create a task. And in this case, it's sending marketing material. And I'm not going to add a description, but let's say I have to do this by June 1st, 2025. All right. And the priority, this is high. This is a high priority. And there we go. I can go ahead and save and close. And that now is a task. And when we talk about syncing the data across all the different Office 365 applications, this can actually sync with your Outlook account. But I'm going to go ahead and save and close on this account. And then we're going to go back over here to our navigation bar. And then over here on the left-hand side, I'm actually going to scroll up and I'm going to come to my recent. And you can see all of my different recent either accounts or contacts that I have worked with. Now, let's say, for example, we're doing a really intensive campaign with Fourth Coffee. What I can do is I can actually pin Fourth Coffee to the top, so that way it's always going to be at the top of my recent list and make it easy for me to come back and visit the Fourth Coffee account. So not only it's under my recent, but if you come down here to the pinned, you can see Fourth Coffee is pinned, and it can either be a contact or an account. It doesn't just have to be the main account. But I also want to show you under my work, we have the activities. Now, from the activities, you can see here is my sending marketing material task. It's a high priority, and you can see when I need to start it and when it's due by. Let's say I'm working ahead, and if I wanted to, I can actually click on that task, and I'm going to click send marketing material. And if I wanted to, I can then mark it as complete. So I'm going to say mark as complete. And now it's off my activity list, but if I want to make sure that it's gone, what I can do is I can come over to my pinned area, select Fourth Coffee, and you can see that the task of sending the marketing material, it is in fact closed. Okay, so we know how to add information on our customers and we know how to search it. But what about the products and services that you're actually selling? And Dynamics 365 doesn't just make it easy for you to manage your customer data, but it also allows you to create product catalogs that can help you keep track of all of your offerings and different variations of them. So a product catalog, what this is it's a collection of products and services that an organization is selling that you are providing to your customers. Now, a typical product catalog usually includes a list of all the products that you sell, but it also has all of the different pricing options. What's the difference between retail pricing versus wholesale? And what this does, it helps your sales team understand how that product is going to be sold. And so when we're looking at the product catalog, there are 4 main categories. We have the unit groups, the products, the price lists, and the discount lists. So why don't we go ahead and start with the unit groups first. This is how the product is sold. Are you selling the products as a pack, as a pair, or is it a service? Are you charging by the hour, the month, or annually? Next, what we have is the products themselves. This is what you are selling to your customer. And the price list is how you charge for the products. And then, if you are going to offer discounts, you have a discount list that tells your sales team about any available discounts like bulk discounts or wholesale discounts. And the product catalog is going to be used across all of the Dynamics 365 apps. And we're going to explore this in a little bit more detail when we get into some of our later modules. But we have one last lesson of Module 1. And what I want to do is I want to explain the benefit of leveraging Dynamics 365 applications in your organization. Because you see, Dynamics can easily integrate with other Microsoft applications that allow you to use Dynamics in so many ways across your entire organization. So let's say, for example, you can store files in Dynamics records, but that's going to be a standalone copy. But imagine if you were able to interact with a file or a document in its native application, and then it was automatically synced across all the different platforms. Now, some of the most common integrations I see are with Word, Excel, Teams, SharePoint, and all of the different Power Platform apps. And Microsoft Word, that's probably one of the most common applications used in the workplace. But when it's integrated with the Dataverse, you can create templates and then share those templates across the organization for invoices, for reports, or really anything that you can think of. And while Word is probably one of the more popular applications, I actually think Excel is probably one of the most used integration in Dynamics. Think about it. You have all of this data inside of Dynamics. And by exporting this data into Excel, your team can manipulate and analyze the data to really extract those useful business insights. And since everything's integrated, you're going to have the option to export the data as a local copy on your machine, or you can export it as a dynamic worksheet. And so what happens is there's a link maintained from Excel to the Dataverse and Dynamics. So with Word and Excel, we also have SharePoint. Now, since you can store documents inside of Dynamics, by leveraging SharePoint, any document that you add to Dynamics, it's also going to be stored in the SharePoint site. And at the end of the day, all of these different integrations are really are designed to help your team collaborate and work with the most up-to-date information. And especially over the last year, we've seen how important it is for teams to be able to collaborate without being in the same physical space. Now, Microsoft Teams has become an important tool with virtual teams, but it goes beyond just virtual meetings. With integrations between Teams and Dynamics, your sales team, they can actually share different Dynamics records inside of the Teams platform. And since the documents are synced between the two, all of your updates are always going to be synced. Now, there is one other integration that I want to look at, and that's the Power Apps and Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement Apps. These are both what you call model-driven apps. And because of this, you can take advantage of all the different Canvas apps. And this allows you to connect different data sources beyond just what's on the Dataverse. So imagine if you're using a SQL application or maybe some type of third-party app. You can pull all of that data together and create really dynamic visualizations. But it's really not just about collecting data. It's how you use that data. So what we also has a part of Dynamics 365 is a number of different reporting tools. And we've looked at some of the views and we've looked at how you can search and filter them, but you can also create charts that provide kind of like a visual breakdown of your data. And these charts are interactive. So if you wanted to, you could really drill down and get into the nitty-gritty of your data. And then what you do is you're going to take all of these views and all these charts that you create, and then you can combine them to create a custom dashboard. Now, I'm personally a huge fan of dashboards because it's keeping all the information that I need in one single place. And if I want, I can share these dashboards with others on my team. Or as an admin, you can actually create a standard dashboard that's available to everyone. And, reports, I think reports are part of the business place. When you have reports that you create, you can generate them and export them and share them with others in your organizations. Now, you have the opportunity to completely customize them based off of your needs using some of the different search, or basically like a wizard that we saw earlier with the search feature. But, at the end of the day, what I want you to take away from this first module is that all of the customer engagement apps, what they're doing is they're allowing you to work seamlessly across your organization. And for the rest of today, we're going to explore how these tools and these integrations make it easier for your sales and marketing teams to find potential customers and build long-lasting relationships. But before we really start to dig in, let's go ahead and take a short 10-minute break. This will give you a chance to stand up, stretch, and when we come back, we're going to look specifically at the Dynamics 365 marketing applications. Sound good? Okay, so I'll see you back here in 10.